Hello Aries, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for February for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout features to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail all the key influences particularly relevant to your sign. Now, if you're new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you'd subscribe. Please click or tap the bell notification symbol. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me. Now, as you come into this new month, the Sun in the sign of Aquarius is angling superbly to your ruling planet Mars. So for the first couple of days, expect to be on top form, very motivated, a lot of enthusiasm and passion for the things that really excite you. But this is a month, of course, when we have Valentine's Day, and on the 14th, the stern energies of Saturn are going to be addressing the more vibrant energies of the Sun. So in terms of your longer term prospects around a relationship, this could be a little bit of a test, or it can be an opportunity to celebrate the things you have in common. Now on the 20th, Venus is going to be moving into your sign. Now technically this is detrimented in this location, but by the 27th and 28th, can't wait to tell you about this, a sparkling alliance between Venus and Jupiter, the two planets of fortune. So please stay with me whilst I outline all of that. However, if you've yet to order your year 2023 personal forecast, so you can rise above this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your forecast for the next year, and also your life roadmap in my special package of 30% off, which helps you to understand some of the deeper patterns that have come up for you, good and bad, and help you to become more intimate with how to deal with these and how to gain traction from working with your strengths more closely. Also, in my special package, you can get your zodiac forecast for the year, your Chinese and Indian forecast too. Please see the link beneath this video. So Aries, your monthly forecast for February sees the Sun in the sector of the future, but also of your friendships and networks, come into a great alliance with Mars in your 3rd house. Now, of course, Mars through to the 12th of January, from the 30th of October, was going through a retrograde, and you may have experienced a degree of frustration around some of your plans, anything to do with transport, perhaps even the odd minor injury, knocking your knee or dropping things, miscommunications, all possible, has led to a degree of frustration. But now you're really catapulting forward. So as you come into this new month, I think it will be with a lot of enthusiasm. Now it's true that on the 11th, Mercury joins up with the Sun and Saturn in the sign of Aquarius. So that's just going to really see you networking for fun, something that I think you're pretty good at doing anyway. But the full moon of the 5th is asking you in some ways to manage your time quite shrewdly. It's possible that everybody wants a piece of you, Aries, which is very flattering. But when it comes to the connections you should make, whether it's romantic or in friendship, your values and those of other people's could come into sharp contrast, because Uranus shakes up this full moon. And if there is someone who's been taking you a little bit for granted, perhaps even financially, you may want to reset the relationship. Also, from the 8th through to the 12th, Mercury is forging a link with Pluto in your 10th house, and that could be a time when you are discussing something to do with a business proposition. And then as Mercury moves into the sign of Aquarius, you may get the outcome of that discussion. Now, as I mentioned before, on Valentine's Day, the Sun is aligned with Saturn. that can be a bit of a limiting energy. If you're in a relationship or you've got to know someone recently that it's been built very much on sexual attraction, what this Valentine's Day may be seeking to teach you is just how much you can find ways to collaborate and cooperate beyond the lust, putting it bluntly. But that's not to say that you can't, but there will be a bit of a test. On the other hand, if you're footloose and fancy free, it could be a good opportunity to go out with some friends and have a good chinwag. And if you're all in a similar situation, that can actually be very bonding and unifying experience between you. Now on the 18th, the sun makes its way into your sector of reflection, and on the same day, the moon is cresting with Pluto. Your feelings could feel close to the surface, and you may feel a little more vulnerable. But the move of Venus into your sign on the 20th is one to really celebrate. This is a great opportunity to give yourself a super sizzling makeover. So even if you're someone who's pretty stylish, a dedicated follower of fashion, there could be some new ways that you can tease out to present yourself, and that can give your personal energies a boost. But Venus moving into this position can also be like drawing a line in the sand over a relationship which hasn't worked out. So whether it's a friendship or a romantic fling, if it didn't quite work for you, from the 20th, you could start to move forwards. But it is true that the new moon in Pisces on the 20th too is conjunct, although by different signs, with Saturn. So if there is something to do with a lack of trust, a lack of faithfulness, a lack of sincerity around any kind of relationship, it could show itself in the following month, because the transition of the energy of the sun, soon to be joined of course in March by Saturn in the 12th house, is this year going to point towards some associations which could be reaching the end of their time in your realm. However, of course, with every change and departure, it frees up space for new beginnings. And on the 27th and 28th, as I flagged up before, a quite gorgeous link between Venus and Jupiter. If ever there was a time to do something dashing and bold, and perhaps even to ask someone out on a date that you really like, that combination will bolster you. Also, in week 4, the sun, now in the more gentle and reflective 12th house, is actually forging a semi-sextile to Venus. So even if it's someone that you feel a bit shy around, or you're not quite sure how it will play out, you could do some gentle soundings, perhaps through a mutual friend, or just check someone's body language to see how they're reacting around you, which could give you some important clues. But the combination between Venus and Jupiter at the end of this month can also be very good for any creative or artistic talents and strands you've got too. So on the whole, Aries, quite an upbeat month. It certainly starts in a very vibrant way. You're just being tested over the quality of some of your associations and how much some of your future hopes are really important to you, because if some aren't quite giving you the same sense of anticipation they did when you first set sail towards them, you may be readjusting, and that could lead to a period of reflection later in the month, but that's all preparing the way for when the sun enters your sign in March and we have the vernal equinox and the start of the new astrological calendar.